Serious, fans who have been engrossed in a fictional universe so much you could probably earn a degree about it, what plot holes, logical inconsistencies, and the like cannot be reconciled and bother you to no end? In Fallout, the fact that no one decides to start cleaning after 200 years. Like, yeah, I get it's the apocalypse, but why is a 200-year-old skeleton in your house? This is what pissed me the hell off about base building in Fallout 4. Apparently people forgot how to measure and make actual squares with wood, because even building brand new structures means creating a dilapidated shithole. They've overplayed their gritty wacky wasteland aesthetic. It's demoralizing to be forced to create a settlement out of cigarette cartons and dog shit. I just want a clean ducking floor in a house made of actual building material. Is that so fucking hard? I like the goofy charm that Fallout has, but I wish there were an alternative, more realistic post-apocalypse settlement building game. Like a good one. In the Harry Potter universe they can regrow bones, drink potions to make you an exact replica of another being, and other medical miracles, but Harry has to wear glasses to fix his eyesight. In Harry Potter, How the Duck Did Hagrid's Tiny Father Have Sex with a Giant? I can always picture him just crawling right in and having a wank. It keeps me up at night. Paw Patrol. So hear me out, I have 3 kids, oldest 10, youngest 2. I have been watching this show for a very long time. Every episode is an inconsistency. Let's just put aside the fact that an entire city leaves their emergency services to a group of puppies and a 12-year-old who seems to not have parents. Why do these puppies talk and the kittens do not? Also they keep adding puppies, Everest, Tracker, the pirate pup. Do all dogs talk? Now they have superpowers in some episodes. Why do the puppy cars have steering wheel? Also bubble guppies. They are underwater but bound by gravity? I saw an episode where they are swimming along, watching a hot air balloon float away, and wondering how they can stop it. Just swim up there. Bubble guppies is terrible. Are they underwater? Or not? They drive a car, but the cows are mare cows. They can talk just fine, and eat, and there's fire and electricity. Huh? Man, you would not like SpongeBob. SpongeBob addresses the elephant in the room though when Patrick asks how they can have a fire underwater, which causes the fire to go out immediately. They address their inconsistencies quite a bit actually. That example in the Free Balloon Day episode is the most remembered one though. The Walking Dead. Gasoline is only good in cars for 6 months, in cans maybe a few years. In pumps 5 years. They should not have been able to use cars after like year 6. In Zombieland, a comedy, whenever the cast would go into a building they would make noise to draw out and deal with the zombies first, then do whatever they wanted. Yet not once does TWD group ever clear out a building first, they stumble into them and someone always either gets bit or nearly gets bit. World War Z, it took them 5 minutes to realize magazines strapped on your arms protects you from bites, and it seems to be a TWD rule to only wear t-shirts and maybe some leather if you're cool enough. If you stick a pocket knife in a skull, you need both hands and a boot on the head to get it back. And if your weapon had nails on it, it's gone after 1 use. Barbed wire, not a vast improvement. You risk getting it caught very easily. And finally, they have established multiple times the walkers smell like dead, rotting flesh. If you walk into a room or house that smells like dead, rotting flesh, you know what the hell is in there. And if you're walking around the woods and suddenly smell dead, rotting flesh, you should know what the hell is near you. There is no reason they should ever sneak up on anyone. Stopped watching TWD after Terminus. The one thing that annoyed me was that the characters never thought about using Mikon's strategy of chopping the jaws off of the zombies while they were living in the prison. They could have built a jawless zombie pen all along the perimeter of the jail, essentially creating a zombie shield, as the zombies wouldn't be able to smell any humans at all. In X-Files there are like 3 different versions of Samantha's abduction, and they all significantly impact the plot and the way Mulder reacts to certain situations. It's my favorite show of all time, but I've always found it annoying that they kept retconning that aspect of the myth arc. I know why they did it, but it was dumb emo. I watched all of the X-Files, including the 2 movies, and I still have no ducking idea whether or not aliens exist or if it's just a government conspiracy. I can explain it to you in a few sentences if you want. Remember, a lot was retconned poorly and not all of it agrees because later things overwrite the earlier stuff. Basically there are 2 groups of aliens having a war in space. Black goo alien hybrid humans versus the blind aliens. The black goo aliens want to invade Earth and use us as biomass to grow more soldiers. The government syndicate make a bargain for them to come back in a few decades and we will turn ourselves over peacefully. They take the government's children as collateral. This is Mulder's sister. In the meantime, the syndicate is doing its own shady stuff in attempt to block the aliens from invading. The blind aliens come along now and then they kill people that they think are being tested by goo aliens. A lot more happens, but it's basically two alien types fighting with humans stuck in the middle with the occasional giant worm in sewers. Yeah, this is the answer I came to. Also, the syndicate isn't just trying to block the aliens from invading, they're trying to stall it from happening while they develop ways to fight the aliens. There are more than a few EPs that show secret government projects like alien craft and other things that can be used as weapons. One of my more outlandish ideas was that the X-Files were secretly endorsed in order to try and find a cult or other paranormal ways to fight off the aliens. I don't think it's ever directly mentioned, but I'm pretty sure that the X-Files were also plausible deniability and/or a way to distract the aliens further to throw them off what the syndicate was doing on the side. I don't think that is an outlandish idea. They wanted Mulder to keep the light on just in case he could inadvertently find something they could weaponize. Pirates of the Caribbean. This is annoying me to no end, but in Dead Men Tell No Tales they completely rewrite Jack's history by saying he got his compass from his old captain. When in Dead Man's Chest it's explained that he got it from Tia Dalma. She literally says, "Why didn't you use the compass I gave you?" I'll get it, thanks for the award, kind stranger smile. Even worse, in a deleted scene from At World's End and later in a book, it was established that Jack wasn't always a pirate, he used to be a trader. Until the East India Company hired him to deliver a load of slaves to the Caribbean. Jack couldn't do it and freed them, which is why the company branded him as a pirate as punishment and burned his ship down. Jack then made a deal with Davy Jones to get his ship back. That's why the pearl was black, from the fire, and why Davy Jones wanted Jack to give him 100 souls for his freedom, because Jack had freed 100 slaves. And then in Dead Men he just was a pirate from day one. Conversation with Beckett in the third one alludes to this as well. While throwing the compass back and forth, Jack mentions people aren't cargo mate, which is referencing his past with the company. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. How TF does Toodles know what kind of items Mickey and the gang will need that day? Does he have some kind of crystal ball dedicated to mouse tools? We even got to see inside the Mouseketeer, but it didn't tell us anything aside from liquid light makes it run. Sorry, I have 2 young kids. I've seen every episode at least a dozen times, they've never addressed this and it drives me crazy. So I'm actually a really big fan of the movie Cars, and honestly you don't need to be a big fan to think of logic inconsistencies. Like in Cars 3 they have spray bottles. How do they spray them? They have paint jobs, so if they are stripped from their paint are they naked? Well, apparently not, because in the modern Tall Tale short where he goes to Japan, when that one car loses the race he is stripped from his modifications and he acts embarrassed like he was naked or something. Why do some buildings have regular size doors? A car obviously can't fit through one. I could go on, and at this point you probably stopped reading because you were already able to think of some of these. Edit, so everyone is sharing their headcanon, so I figured I would share mine. So I have always felt that the cars have their own world or universe. I have always felt they evolved like humans, and maybe something that wasn't a car but similar were the cavemen who evolved into the cars today. I know it is boring, but I just find it the easiest for me to wrap my head around. I want to know how baby cars are born. How do they build anything? Are there living cranes who are born and die in this life, and only this life? Was Lightning born as a race car, or was he modified? How much of the car can you replace? Can a car have its entire engine replaced? How do they die in the first place? They can literally be repaired. How did Sally get a tramp stamp, and why was it showing like she was bending over, then never reappeared for the rest of the movie? I thought they were painted. Maybe I'm thinking way too much into this. I want to know how baby cars are born. Cars duck. I mean, 2 cars flashing their high beams at Lightning is treated like human girls flashing their tits. Wasn't it also mentioned that Lightning doesn't have working headlights, only stickers, because he's a track racing car? Does that mean his tits are just painted on? Supernatural, suddenly souls that have been to hell can't go to heaven. Main characters have bounced between both throughout 15 seasons. Didn't Dean do some pretty heinous stuff during his first trip to hell? Like, what redeems you enough to get into heaven after that? Especially after you pretty much said duck you to God's universe-breaking turbo curse. Literally became one of the best torturers apparently, and hella close to just becoming a demon. Boo. We're gonna ignore that, I guess. Also, shouldn't he have life-lasting PTSD from 40 years of torture and subsequent torturing? Or at least mention it sometime post-season 4? No? Okay then.